Namaste. Today is June 26th. June 26th is the International Day Against Drug Addiction as notified by the United Nations since the year 1987. What is the significance of this video? What am I going to cover in this video? I'm going to talk about why drug abuse is going to be one of the most important talking points in the years to come. If you have been a keen observer of movies, if you have been a keen observer of TV shows, you can clearly see a pattern emerging. Movies are a reflection of the society. Movies are a reflection of what is going on in the society right now. If you have observed movies in the past 5-6 years, from the past 5-6 years, you can clearly see that most of the movies have a drug abuse element, have a drug industry element embedded in their story. Now, why was this not there in the 90s? Why was it not there in the early part of the 2000 years is something that we need to really reflect on. In the past few years, the awareness towards drug abuse has increased, and that's one of the reasons why we see them frequently in the movies. Coming to the second aspect, is this a business? Yes, of course, this is one of the largest businesses making the highest number of profits out there, running into crores, lakhs of crores across the world. We have seen stories of how these drug cartels, how the Escobars and how other people who are so very prominent, they control not only the business, they control governments as well. They control decision making, they control the policy making as well. That's how deep these people have infiltrated into our system. And my worrisome fact is who is being targeted out there. If the target of the drug mafia are people in the age where they can really make a difference between what is right or what is wrong and take responsibility for their actions, then I don't have a problem. The biggest target for the mafia today are children. And when I say children, I'm not talking about youngsters. I'm not talking about people in their 20s. I'm not even talking about the ones in their 17, 18, 19s. I'm talking about children who are in their high school, who have just joined high school. This is where the biggest problem lies. We have seen in the papers, we have seen literally ourselves, people who are there in the education system, how drugs has come into the school system. Now, what are the reasons for that? One of the biggest reason is peer pressure. Now, when you look at the children in their teens, 12, 13, 14, 15, when they enter these ages, there is always this logic that I should be welcomed. I should be accepted in this cool group. Now, how do you do that? You can only get accepted if you get involved in every activity that that group does. And one of them is either get involved in smoking or get involved in drinking or get involved in drug abuse. I keep saying to all the youngsters that it is all about the first sip, it is all about the first puff, or it is all about the first drag. Until and unless you take that first action, you are firmly in control of your life. The moment you take that first step, then looking back is extremely difficult. So my biggest problem lies with the age, the target age that is being used by the mafia out there. It is an age where they want acceptance. That's the first point out there. The second point is accessibility. How accessible are children to drugs today compared to how it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago? There's a sea change out there. It's really very easily accessible out there. 3. Innovation. Gone are the days when drugs used to come in packaged drugs, used to look different. Today, you can never make a difference between chocolate candy and the candy that is laced with drugs. It is so difficult to really distinguish. I was shocked when I had a discussion a couple of months ago with one of the authorities. It's gone to an extent where drugs are being laced on a piece of paper as one layer, just like a lamination. And small bits of these papers are being sold at exorbitant prices. Now, if I am a part of the education industry and if I want to check their bags, if I want to check the position, if I see a small piece of paper, if I'm a parent, or if I'm a teacher, or if I'm anybody, I will definitely not think that this is laced with drug. Innovation has really made accessibility of these substances even more easier. Most importantly, it is the age. My biggest problem lies with the age, because they are not in a position to identify that, hey, am I doing something on my own will, and am I responsible for the actions that I'm taking? Am I responsible for the consequences that I have? No, they really are not in a position to think about all this. It is curiosity, it is inquisitiveness, it is being cool that will drag them into this. But once they get dragged into it, once it becomes a habit, it's difficult for them to come out of it, because it reaches a stage where there's no point of return. So the responsibility lies with each one of us out there. Responsibility does not mean that we don't talk about all these things. Usually that's how the mindset of the elders are at home. That if there is something that we don't want children to do, we just don't talk about it. The moment we don't talk about it, that's when the curiosity levels will increase. And that's when they want to try it even harder, even faster. The truth or the solution lies in being transparent about it. Solution lies in talking about it. Talking about what will happen if you get addicted to something, and how difficult it is to come out of such an addiction. This addiction will give you a transient happiness, but what about the long-term side effects? What about the long-term effects, long-term impact out there? This has to be clearly explained to a kid. When the kid is getting aware, getting to know that such a thing exists. So it's very important that all of us have to play a big role. Otherwise, we will be under the mercy of the drug cartel. I'm not here to say that this is right or this is wrong, because I'm not the person to judge anybody out there, judge anybody's actions. But it is for each individual out there. If you are responsible enough to know whether who is taking charge of my life, whether I am in charge of the drug or whether the drug is taking charge of my life, if you ask this question and if you are transparent enough to answer it to your own conscience, that's more than sufficient is what I feel. But we really need to keep our eyes, ears, our thoughts open to the impact that this industry can have. Of course, it involves a lot of money. So when there is a lot of money, there is obviously a lot of corruption, there's always bribery, there's always compromise. But it all should start from home. Parents have the biggest responsibility out here. You have a responsibility of teaching your children that this is what you can do, this is what you cannot do. Talk about the effects of the same. Talk about how many potential superstars have actually gone unnoticed because of any particular habit. Talk about all that, talk about the ills, and at the end of the day, ensure that the children are able to take a conscious decision. You cannot just run away from this, you cannot just ask the child to run away from it and then make them understand. That does not work in this generation of technology being available at the click of a button. So on this day, I just hope Bangalore does not become one more Punjab, although there are signs showing that slowly Bangalore is climbing up the ladder in terms of drug abuse. All I would like to say is, anything, if it is controlling your life, it becomes a habit. So when I talk about a habit, social media can be a habit as well. So to all the children out there, try to understand who is in control of whom. Whether the mobile phone is in control of your life, or whether it is the other way around. Whether it is your smoke, whether it's your weed, or whether it's your drink that's in control of you, and not the vice versa. It's your decision. It's your responsibility at the end of the day to ask these questions and then take a suitable choice for your life. I just hope we do not reach a stage where instead of teaching physics, chemistry, mathematics in the class, we would be focusing more on who's come drunk, who's come doped, and what kind of influences they have in the classroom while the class is going on. I just wish that each individual out there, whoever is seeing this video, you educate everyone out there about the ills of each one of these things. Decision at the end of the day lies with the individual. You take a choice based on whatever you feel is right or wrong, but be ready to own up, be ready to face the consequences of your actions. Remember, every action has a consequence. If you really have the mind, body, heart, courage to face the consequences, go ahead, live your life the way you want. But if you do not have such courage, it's always good to be safe than sorry. Namaste. Thank you.